Have you looked at the questions?
Have I got the questions?
Have you looked
I
at
got the ones you sent.
Oh, cool. Do you want me to read them out?
Oh, whatever.
Yeah, okay. Does magic have an opposite, and if so, what is it?
Well, magic to me is what you know and don't know.
Yep.
So it's magic if you don't understand what you're seeing.
Yeah.
It's not magic if you do understand what you're seeing or doing.
Okay, so it's the unknown.
As opposed to something that some God creates.
Yep. Yep. How do you define open-mindedness?
It's willing to listen at least to things that may be of interest to me.
Yep. Yep.
And examples, for instance, are, like on RG, you follow RG.
Yeah.
I'm interested in theories of everything, so I will entertain various people's theories of everything until they just don't interest me anymore.
Yep. Yep.
As opposed to rejecting them right offhand.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you know about mindfulness?
Well, I think you have to define that, because that's not a word that I use.
Oh, okay. It's pretty common in a lot of scientific disciplines regarding consciousness, like cognitive science. They talk about mindfulness as a discipline of meditation taken from Buddhism. So mindfulness, there's a lot of people have been taught slightly different techniques. So it's pretty common to hear about these days that mindfulness is like good for your awareness, or helps you to lose some stress or something. Like it's, I think I can say what I know about it, which is essentially that it's about, I guess it's kind of like about not thinking, I guess. So you kind of like detach from your internal monologue, and you see it from outside yourself. So I don't know. There's just when I ask that question, I usually get a lot of different answers. What is what is consciousness to you?
Well, this is all wrapped up into the same kind of thing, according to what you're saying here.
Yeah.
Consciousness, mindfulness, these are all things that need definition. Meaning they are very so vague and non-specific that really there isn't much you can make use of them.
Yeah.
And to me, everything is use,
The definitions are important.
In terms of mindfulness, years ago when I did look a little bit into Buddhism, and this is like decades ago,
yeah.
The thing that I got from that it is useful to pay attention to what you're doing.
Yeah.
All the time. So, you pay attention to which shoe is on which foot, and putting your shoes on, and walking around and not stumbling over something, etc.
Yeah. And
just being aware of your surroundings.
Yeah.
Now, when I was a teenager, I was a hunter, and that's what hunters have to do.
Yeah.
And you're walking through the woods, you're not just watching out for trees, you're looking all around, you're as close and distant, to pay attention to what's going on around you. And those animals who do not pay attention to what's going on around them soon get killed.
Essentially, yeah.
More than potentially. It's, you can actually see animals.
I said essentially, not potentially. It's an essential part of mindfulness is survival, I guess.
Yes, it is.
What's your favorite magical text, and what is the key to their magic in a nutshell?
Well, I don't really read anymore.
Yep.
I'm into writing and watching TV, and what I read is scientific papers. But what I do watch is TV science fiction shows,
Yep.
And there I'm interested in different sets of moralities, about what the characters use.
Oh, okay. So
what their environment is,
Yeah, Stargate SG-1 is very good for that. Stargate SG-1.
Well, they do that, and the follow-up, Atlantis, I was just watching here last week. So,
Yeah. What are your favorite texts in general?
like I said, the only thing I really read is scientific papers these days.
But you must have a favorite from before. But, and a scientific
the
paper
only
is
thing
still
that
a text.
the only thing I remember is the foundation text that I actually read.
Yeah.
Most everything else has been more or less brain interest, more useful text.
Yeah, okay.
But the last thing I remember as something that was not directly useful was the foundation series.
Okay, cool. Let me look that up. Oh, Isaac Asimov. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, Isaac Asimov, right.
Yeah. So he did, was it The Egg and I guess the 3 Laws of Robotics?
Well, he's also that, yes. But the foundation text, that's the one where the guys go searching for this great new world, and it turns out that it's the one that just collapsed in the end.
Cool. Does life have a purpose, and if so, what is it?
Life have a purpose. The purpose of life is life.
Yeah.
Now, the paper I wrote on this subject is survival is the only moral goal.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's exactly right. Survival is the only moral goal.
You've said that a few times, so I guess the purpose of life is living. Like, I guess, do you know Mrs., I think it's called Mrs. Gren? The 7...
No.
It's an acronym. Each letter is stands for a word that is part of the biological definition of life. So it's like movement, reproduction, sensing, breathing, and a few other things like respiration, I guess, not breathing.
Reproduction has to be one of them.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's a good question to ask someone you've never met?
I don't think about that, because usually when I first meet someone, I listen.
Oh, okay.
And they usually tell me everything I want to know about them.
Yeah.
See, I'm very much of an introvert. I don't.
Oh, okay.
I don't relate to people very well socially.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I just open up my ears and let them tell me what they want to tell me.
That's the thing. I don't have a question to ask people, so that's why I asked that question, so I get them to ask. What stories do you think convey the best morals apart from Jesus?
See, now, the philosophy that makes the most sense to me is not Christian or Muslim or any of those religions. It's capitalism. If you got to put an ism to it, it's capitalism.
Yeah.
Because what capitalism does, like what life does, is it kills the weak.
Yeah.
And all of Christianity and most of these religions have to do with helping the weak out.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You see, that's the whole morality, is thou must give to the weak and the poor.
Yeah.
And so capitalism, which kills the weak and the poor, is my moral anyway.
That's interesting because I guess I was looking up a thing recently about there are a few different opinions on this one topic, and it's really common to hear, particularly amongst religious people, reproduce and multiply. Like we want to increase the population. But the other opinion is to try and decrease it, and it's like the opposite of like less taxes and less help for the poor people, that kind of thing, which I guess is a similar thing there. How do you?
Well,
you go.
If you're going to have a purpose of life, then you want to increase the population.
Yeah.
The rub comes when you increase the population by supporting the weak.
Yeah.
You know, the
Yeah.
babies that should die, the homeless. That increases population for a short while, but in the end, not only do all those people regularly die anyhow,
Yeah.
but they take a lot of the people who would normally produce with them.
Yeah.
So what you see
you shoot yourself in the
in
foot.
history, what you see in the history of societies is that there will come a time when you have a very good period.
Yep.
You know, and then population just expands and goes all over, and the weak are being helped and the poor are being helped, etc. And then a drought comes.
Yep.
And instead of just killing off all the weak, what you do is you kill off at least half of the producing population, and your population goes from very high to much lower than it would normally be. And usually that means the end of a civilization.
Right.
You see, so capitalists, because they take care of those issues along the way. It's the negative that most people consider about capitalism.
Yeah.
And it's why socialism tends to take over capitalism, because as people get prosperous, you know, they tend to fall into the Christian ethic, you know, the ethic of helping the poor and the weak and all that.
Yeah.
And in the end, it just takes everybody down. The civilization falls.
Yeah. How do you define ego?
I don't.
That's good.
I mean, I don't know how to define it, you know, so.
Yeah, I've heard of a few things. So one of them was a guy said that it was the self's idea of the self. And I think another one that comes up a lot is when people say that the ego is an illusion, like it's not a concrete thing in itself. It's just like an after effect of looking at the self as being selfish. But if there is no self, because all is one, then you can't really define it. It gets a bit out of hand. But yeah. So that.
Well, certainly one should try to survive, you know, and one should try to help his own progeny survive.
Yep.
And then relations survive, and then his communities survive, you know, that kind of buildup.
Yep.
But of course, that leads directly into racism.
Yeah. That's all the questions. I've got a few other questions, but they're not really part of the same. You know, I could ask them another time maybe or something. But I've got what do you believe in? What do you believe is a fallen angel? What song is has the most relationship resonating lyrics to you? And what are your favorite symbols? And what do you think of metaphysics? We could go into those, but if you don't want to, we can just end it here. But,
well, you know, I just simply ignore all that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I don't define fallen angels. That's a myth, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you listen to much music?
Not as much as I used to. I used to be a fan of country.
Oh, cool.
You know, but
it's a bit different now.
Wagner, the March of the Valkyries is one of my more favorite ones.
I'll look that up.
Brubeck and his various records, like Time Out, I still like that. Used to really like Joan Baez, Judy Collins.
Yep. Yep. Well, I'll be posting this on YouTube, and if anyone is interested, they can comment and ask you a couple of questions, and then I can get back in contact with you if you want. But,
Sounds good.
Yeah. Thank you very much for this. It didn't take long. Hopefully, I'll see another one of your papers soon.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you very much.